Hello friends, welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be setting up the month of August in my agenda planner. We'll decorate all the monthly pages in a late summer fruit theme, so come plan with me. And I've got some washi tapes here ready to go, along with some mild liners that I may use, some various papers and vellums that I had in my stash, this glue stick for sticking those down, a couple of sets of die-cut stickers, this set of small talk stickers, and this Planny Things sticker book, which I'll pull from. Okay, you guys, so this month I decided that I wanted to work with these strawberry stickers I picked up fairly recently before the summer went away, because I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to use strawberries in other seasons. So I thought August would be a good time to use these stickers. I put those together with a Amazon pack I got on my spring haul, I think. I think the strawberry stickers came from Journal Say, and then the black and white die cuts came from Amazon. All of the items that I'm using today will be linked down below in the description if they have a link. And even if they don't, I will try to list them so you can try to find something comparable. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and sort these two packs of stickers and figure out how I want to combine them together. I'm thinking to do 3 full spreads. This monthly spread, I have a month overview spread that I use for my monthly goals and like my monthly to-do lists and habits. And then I also have one more spread, which I actually didn't get to in this video, but ended up doing afterwards, which is my social media spread. I took way longer than I thought I was going to just to set up these spreads, so I just got fatigued and it was like, I need to take a break, and decided to do the last spread off camera. But all 3 of those monthly pages are going to be in the same strawberry-like theme, and I will use the same techniques on all the pages, so you're not really missing anything. As you can see, I've pulled in some papers that I've had in my stash. I think they came out of a vintage set I got either at Stationery Pal, or it could have been in a box kit that I got. Again, I'll try to find the exact set if you really want to recreate this and have all the exact same things. But basically, it's just like, 2 layered sheets of paper, vintage papers. And I'm going to combine those with 1 strawberry sticker and one of the black and white floral stickers kind of mixed in between. Those black and white stickers mostly just had a similar vibe to me as the strawberries, and I liked the addition of texture with black so that I could bring in some other black elements too, and it all felt like it made sense. The colors of the papers that I'm using, I pulled out one that's kind of like a strawberry red. I know it's a little bit more like of an antique red. And then the like natural tissuey paper that kind of felt like simulated dirt, even though it's not really dirt. So that's where my mind was when I was picking out the papers for this spread. I'm bringing in now some color through the washi to tie up with the strawberry stickers. I pulled 2 greens and 1 red. I ended up using the darker of the greens. The other green that I pulled looked better when the stickers weren't down on the page, but I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I feel like washi tape, when you take it off the roll, is usually just a little bit different than when it is on the roll, mainly for that transparency issue. So the color that tended to work better with this spread was the darker green. I've also layered up a couple of other items. So I pulled in a script washi as well in that black and white color scheme, tying to the black and white florals. I also have this pad, or this set of vellum sticker overlay elements, which That for sure I got from my Grabby set, my subscription box from them, and layered a couple of elements from that behind the stickers as well, just for a little bit more of that black and white texture. I also pulled in one of the small talk quote stickers, which is just like a little strip that says attitude is everything. I pulled that in just to have, again, some more of that black and white element mixed in. And then finally, I pulled in some of the black boxes as well. There is a birthday that I want to remember on the 29th, so I've got that in. And I'll need to pull in another one too, because I know I have an appointment on the 9th that I need to remember. That's how I'm creating these clusters, kind of all of those different elements pulled together into one grouping, and then seeing where that takes me on this spread. Because this is a monthly where I don't really have a ton going on, I'm comfortable with putting decor over days, and I'm not too worried about covering up any of the days, especially in the middle of the week, because usually I have nothing going on middle of the week. So, use your discretion as far as functionality in your planner. But for this spread, I decided to do kind of a triangular shape or a V shape on the spread, with one top corner, the bottom center, and then the right top corner. Again, am creating these clusters here with all of the elements I mentioned before, just trying to get it to fit and not cover up too much functional space. I think it's coming together nicely. I had pulled this marbled washi tape that I got from Planning, which has pink tones and brown tones, thinking it would match really well with this spread because of the browns I pulled for the papers, and then like the pink red tones from the strawberries. I ended up not using it, but I really did think that that would have been a nice match in with everything else. I just had a lot going on, so I found that I didn't need to use it in order to make this spread really come together. And I am cutting up lots of those vellum paper strips to add a bit of that. It's like a dot pattern that I'm pulling in for, again, a little bit more texture. Just makes things a little more interesting when you can layer upon layer and not be too distracting. The key to layering, if you guys are looking for tips, is color. I've limited this color palette mainly to two colors, the red and the green. The brown is kind of like a tone of the red, so it doesn't really stand out as its own color. And then the green tones come from the leaves, so it all kind of matches together with that. The black and the white is more of an element versus a color that's really a major factor, I would say, except for the fact that I brought in some bold black boxes. But even then, I think three colors, using black as one of those colors, is still considered maybe like a two-color spread. That really helps. I would say no more than three individual colors. If you brought in another completely different color, say like a purple or something, I think that would be your max. You don't want to go overboard with color when you are doing lots of layering and lots of detail, because then it just ends up looking like a big mess. So simplify other elements in order to bring in a lot of extra interest into your spread through texture, and that really helps with the layering. Okay, so I've gotten those clusters in, and now I've separated out the pages for punching. I was going to try to hand cut these, but I just knew I was going to have to do this multiple times, so I decided to use my We Are Memory Keepers disc power punch for this, and it worked pretty well. It needs to be sharpened specifically on the stem of the hole, so I had to go back and kind of clean up some of the punches where it didn't punch through very cleanly in those areas where it's not as sharp. But overall, it did save me a lot of time versus having to hand cut those holes out. I also am going to add just a smidge more texture, mainly because I wanted to add a bit more color, and I'm going to use the red mile liner that I pulled to add just a little bit of like a dot confetti around my clusters. I didn't mention I pulled out a quote originally from the Plan Anything sticker book that I'm getting these black boxes from as well, and added that to the sidebar. I also added a nice long black box there as well and just kind of had it run off the page. I don't really have a use for that box, so we'll see what comes out of it at the end of the month. And then I also added a few more of those small talk quotes just to make every cluster feel the same. Okay, so now we're moving on to the second spread that I mentioned earlier. This is the last spread we're going to decorate here on camera. This is my month overview spread, and on it, like I said, I have a place for habit tracking, I have a place for a monthly to-do list, and then I also have a full page for setting up monthly goals. I keep everything in those same themes. It just simplifies my life to have one theme each month for these month type pages in each of the planners. So that's a technique I've been doing for quite a while, and I just find that that makes life just much simpler overall. I am setting up the first cluster down here at the bottom. I pre-separated out those strawberry stickers to allow the stickers to have a certain amount on each spread. So I had 2 full-size stickers on each spread, plus there was one cluster of strawberries that had 3 together that I thought I could use as a standalone item cut up. So technically I have 3 stickers of the strawberries for each spread set aside, as well as a couple of layering pieces that coordinate with each one of those strawberry clusters. I'm combining them already, just trying to work out where the best functional space would be for that decor item. So I'm not covering up, for example, any of my goal boxes for goal tracking. Those I use pretty fully. I have a little bit of a push in from the strawberry stickers there at the bottom, but for now it's not too much, and I think I can work around those. So that's what I'm thinking about. At the top here, I don't really use anything on the top left other than the habit trackers there that cascade below. And then I have my running to-do list there kind of even with that. So that whole top section on the left is pretty open, and I'm going to put some decor in there as well. I am going to layer these guys up, kind of working out at the corners. I'm going to do a similar layout as I did on the monthly, kind of a V shape, but again, just being mindful of functional space there on the right-handed page, making sure I'm not covering up too much. My monthly to-do list is usually never longer than 10 items top, so I should have enough room there for my decor at the bottom, covering up a few of those spaces. And I am trying to work in just one more cluster there in the top right corner. But again, just being mindful of covering up any functional space. I'm going to make that obviously a little bit smaller and a little tighter just to minimize the effect on the goals box. One thing I was constantly having to figure out or think about was layering the washi. So for that washi, I was ripping it down so that one edge would be jagged and the other edge was still straight. But then when I would layer it, sometimes I would forget that I wanted the jagged edge on the top. So when I was layering, you have to be thinking about that as you're setting it up. And I constantly had to adjust. So just something to keep in mind, but I was trying to layer the jagged edges on top of the straight edges so that, it just looked like a bunch of jagged lines and kind of camouflage the straight lines. And you can see I just cut up that strawberry cluster sticker I mentioned earlier so that I could have another setup here in the top right corner. I also had a cutting from one of the other clusters I've already brought in, and I'm using that with the black and white leaves just to, again, imitate the other clusters as well. Put that nice and high up so it minimizes the effect on the goals box. Bringing in that washi again, thinking about how I'm layering it, making sure it all fits nicely. I'm going to bring in another of those small talk quotes here, figure out where best to put it. And I'm thinking that looks pretty good. That top corner definitely does have a lot going on, especially right on top of that second box, but I think I can work around it. Nothing too major as far as affecting the functionality. The best technique I had found was to move over the clusters as a whole and then glue down the parts that weren't sticking because they were just plain paper afterwards. And that worked out pretty well, and it allowed me to make some adjustments if I needed to. One of the things I wanted to adjust was this cluster of black and white florals behind the strawberry sticker. Just didn't like how it was layering. It looked really cluttered behind the strawberry, and I just didn't like the look of it. So I went ahead and cut that out just to make it look a little bit cleaner. And I think the effect worked pretty well. We'll go back in here and add in the washi tape layering. I will pull in this major section down here at the bottom as well. I set it down maybe a little bit too fast. Now that I look at it, I was like, well, I think I moved it over quite a bit into the box as opposed to how it was on the wax paper, but that's okay. Again, I think I can work around it, but it's definitely a little bit more intrusive than it was previously. Just going to go ahead and add in those little bits of texture I did on the monthly with the red mild liner. And then I will highlight the habit tracker boxes, alternating the red and the green, to just add a bit more of that color, spread that around. I'm also going to bring in some more of the black boxes here in the goal section, and I will be using those same mild liners there as well when I do the setup. And that all looks good. I will separate out the pages again using my little precision cutter, trimming off any hangers over as far as the paper or the washi. And then we will punch through those holes as well. Again, I'm just going to use my power punch for that. That punch definitely helps move things along. If I had hand cleaned out those holes, it would have took forever. Okay, so that's going to do it for us, friends. Like I said, I will do the social media spread off camera. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch, and think about subscribing to my channel. if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And we'll see you next time. Bye.